pixels, so it just keeps all your measurements together and easy to understand. So once you select your PX, you have to hit the button again so that you can adjust your size. Now these buttons are 250 because this is under the assumption that my website is 1,000 pixels wide. So I have 4 buttons and I want them to be 250 so that this menu bar will stretch all the way across my website. If you want a different size, or if you want smaller, bigger, it's all about which way you want them to be. Smaller numbers. If you want them bigger numbers. But if you have these buttons, see here, if it gets too big, this next tab will come under your home tab, and you really don't want that unless you want to have a 2 set, which I really don't recommend. It makes your website look very crowded. I like to just keep it all the way across in a single line, and that works best with 250 pixels with these 4 tabs. Now once you have the size you want, we're going to come down to the next CSS, and this is going to be the UL horizontal bar, and this one is just going to adjust this size here of your sub tabs. And again, we're just going to go down here to the width, and right now this is set to be 3/4 of this one of the main tabs. If you want to adjust this size so that they are the same size, go ahead and do that, because it'll be the same size as LI. If you want them to be smaller like I have, then you'll obviously select a smaller size. I went with 3/4, which would be about 200 pixels. If you want to adjust that, I'll show you real quickly that it leaves a blank space between here because this has not been adjusted yet. And I'll show you how to adjust that so that these two will match. So right now I'm just going to leave that 250 pixels so that you can see what I'm doing. Alright, the best place to do that is this UL LI. Now as you can see here, it has this very similar name to this one, but what it is it's the sub menus, background and size and all that. And you're just really going to come down here. Again, make sure you're always in PX. If you use PX, make sure all your measurements are in PX. If you're in EM, like it starts out with, then make sure that all your measurements stay in EM. But if you want to adjust that to the sub menu, then you're going to come over and see here it is now adjusted. Now if you want to go back and make that 200 or 3/4 or whatever size you had, then you can go back through and adjust this one, but make sure that you also adjust this one down at the bottom with the width to match that, because if not, you're going to leave that white space, and when you go to your website, that white space will be left, and it really doesn't look good. It actually makes, it looks like your website's unfinished. So just be aware of that if you have this a certain size, that this one matches it. Alright. Now the best place to change, as you can see in live view, there's this small gray box that outlines these sub menus, and that is changed here under the UL horizontal bar. And I'm not really going to adjust that myself. I'm going to leave it as is, but I'm going to show you how to adjust that if you want. You just come down here, you select border, and then you hit this little pencil here that says add a rule, and it goes ahead and opens up that CSS menu, and you can adjust how you want. I mean, you can adjust the box depending on what kind of border you want. You can adjust the width of it with relative sizes, or you can even do PX, point, EMs, and then you can also change the colors of that to match your background. But like I said, I'm not going to change that myself. So I'm just going to leave it as is, but if you want to, that would be the best place to go ahead and do that. If it changes how this looks, that's okay. It's just going down and saying individually that I wanted the bottom border to be this color and I wanted the border to be this look, this size, and that's really all it does. So don't worry if it becomes a whole bunch of boxes. It's just really spelling out each individual button out. the next one we're going to adjust is the menu bar horizontal A. This is what's going to change the color of your background and your text. It's also what's going to change, like if you decide to do a different pointer. So instead of people coming up on your menu and seeing an arrow, they could see crosshairs or a plus or whatever you decide. I would stick with the pointer, but you know, it's up to you if you want to change that. I'm not going to go into all those, but if you want to, and if you have time, go ahead and fiddle around with that to see what you like. It's always easier to get used to the menu bars by fiddling around with it and really seeing what you can do. But we're just going to go ahead and change the background color to something nice and simple. So we're just going to go with a simple blue, and we're going to change our text color to white so that shows up real nice. And as you can see, it comes up as the blue with the white text, but our hover hasn't been set to match it just yet, or our hover is a preset color. Something to note, your hover and your focus horizontal, probably would like to change those to how you see fit, but I like to keep them as the set colors that I have on my horizontal A, just to keep them all together. To change your hover, it's going to be the longest CSS here, and it'd take me a while to read all that out, but just go ahead and it's the longest one. And you're going to come down here and you're going to adjust the color to how you want it. And I'm just going to stick with the white background, but I'm going to change the text to the blue I've been using. And if you go here to live view, you can see that the hover has changed to match that. And it really just helps to keep all of your pages together in a similar look. Alright, now for the rest of these under here, there's really not much you need to change, because what Dreamweaver already has set is really sturdy and works well with a lot of web pages. However, there is one thing to note, that say that you created the buttons that you wanted to use, so that you had a certain look, or if you spliced them. This would be where you would want to adjust those, as it gives you your gift here, and you can browse and look for the buttons that you want and how you want them to look. This is for the down arrow. Down here, it gives you your gift for the buttons itself, and this is really the place where if you want to switch out your items or do a swap image, this is where you want to do that. But I don't have those buttons made, as I'm just going to work with Dreamweaver Spry buttons. But if you wanted to, these would be where you would want to change those out. This would be your down hover, and this would be just your regular hover, and this would be, you know, your regular pages, or your regular buttons. But all in all, that's really all you need to know for adjusting this. If you want to play around with them more to see what does what, or want to change it around more than I did, you're welcome to do that. But for right now, that's really all you need to know on how to change your Spry menu. For vertical Spry menus, it's actually really similar to the horizontal. It's actually the only difference between the two is actually the fact that a vertical Spry menu is going down instead of left, and that is really the only difference between the two. Now, I went ahead and put my Spry menu in an AP div, so that gives me a chance to move this around. What I should have done was put this one in an AP div as well, but I just really wanted to show you how to adjust and change up this Spry menu. But if you want to go ahead and put this in your website, it's best to put it in an AP div first, and then come here and click the tab and adjust how you see fit. And all of this falls under the same CSS styles, and you can adjust them how you want. And it's really easy once you know what you did. So changing vertical is just the same as you would changing horizontal. There's really nothing different about it. The only thing that would be the difference between them is you cannot adjust the height of these buttons. Dreamer does not allow you to adjust that. The only thing that you could do was put padding and the margins on it, and that would probably add some to the height, but not enough. So that is the only thing that you can't change about either one. So that is how you create a Spry menu. If you wanted to put this into a website, I'm just going to show you real quick with a pre-made layout. I'm going to save this file first. I'm just going to call this one practice. And what you want to do is make sure that you're in. Make sure that you're using your space above the text, and you want to come over here into the insert panel, and you want to insert, you want to insert an AP div, and come over here to Spry and put whatever menu you want. And see here, this page isn't as wide as the one I created beforehand, so you would come down and you would adjust your size. So let's see if 200 pixels works for this page, and you can go to live view and see how that works, and just adjust it until it fits with the page that you're making. And that's really all you need to know to actually put a Spry menu into your website. If you have any further questions, you can submit them to either myself or Brenda. My email address is vanessapropes@studentemail.westwood.edu. You can also submit questions here to this video. I will try my best to get back to you as soon as possible, but if not, I'm sure Brenda will be more than happy to answer your questions. And I hope this video was helpful.